Welcome to r/Prorevenge, where an ex-military manager tried to bully OP, but it didn't work so well for him. Let's go. This happened around 2016. I'd, at the time 25, 26 male, been without a job for a while, looking for a better paying job than I had before, and I found one at a camera security company that was looking to hire someone for the service desk. I went for an interview and got a call back later that day. If I wanted the job, it was mine. Now, the manager was an ex-military, specifically ex-army. Not American, just pointing that out. He really didn't like having people disagree with him or going against him. A thing I was very unaware of when I took the job. For 2 to 3 months, everything was going well. The manager was cordial and seemed to really enjoy having me there. I worked my butt off every day as the software we were working with was unknown to me, so I studied a lot and even went overseas to another country to follow a course and succeeded my exams. However, at that period my grandpa, who was like a second father to me, suddenly was hospitalized after a brain bleed. Aneurysm? He was found in the shower. He had collapsed after he pressed the panic button. Assisted living? Not sure what it's called in English, apologies. This all happened on a Wednesday. The family came together in the hospital several times to show us support and to see Grandpa. However, on Friday afternoon, 3 p.m, I was called up by my father, my grandpa's son, while I was at work, and he explained to me that Grandpa unfortunately passed away. I was in tears on the phone and in utter shock. It took me a while to calm down. I went to the manager and explained what just happened and that I'm going home to be with my family. However, that day there was an event. The company was doing a charity event and this charity was going to be public news. They already announced the amount of people participating in it and it would look bad if there were a person down. It was basically just for good PR. So he refused to let me go. I told him that by law he cannot deny me, as my contract states I can take a day for a death in the family, and that I was leaving now. This was the turning point. I went from a nice manager to a manager from hell. Suddenly everything I did was wrong. I was told he couldn't believe I was in this line of work for 6 years and be this bad at my job. He cussed me out, ridiculed me in front of my colleagues and even clients. This all continued for several months and severely began to impact my mental health. I had to talk with my parents and my fiancée, at the time still my girlfriend. I'd asked her to marry me in December 2016, and they basically told me that this was not okay, that I didn't have to take this and that I should give them my 2 weeks notice. I agreed, and the following day I went to HR and explained why I was leaving the company and that I couldn't stand the idea of working even a single day more with that excuse of a human being. HR showed interest in my well-being and, even more importantly, in what I was claiming about my manager. They had received more complaints about him, but nobody had proof of his wrongdoing, so they asked me if I had proof. I told them I'd be looking for a new job, but I'd gladly fit in time to collect all I could. For the next 2 weeks I collected everything. Memos, emails, voice recordings. When on the phone the calls were automatically recorded. And this idiot was stupid enough to cuss me out while I was on the phone, lucky me. Also lucky me was that my colleagues at the desk had my back this entire time. They'd been trying to cheer me up, said I was doing fine work and that I didn't understand this man's behavior at all. So when I came by and asked if they'd mind signing a document that everything I stated in the paperwork was the truth, they gladly did. I had one last talk with the HR and him at the same time the last day I was there. Before he even walked in, I told the HR person who was mediating he's going to walk in, say what he wants, and to say I should be quiet and listen. When he's done, I'll explain my side. And he's going to interrupt me, tell you I'm lying and talk about completely non-related subject matter to direct the conversation to another direction. She looked surprised at my comment, but Had no time to respond as Mr. Army Man over here walked in and began his spiel. Exactly as I'd stated, he brought out his side and I tried to talk, but he'd consistently interrupt me and tried to pick fights. Eventually I got up and told HR, "I told you so. Well, here's the documents you've been asking for." I placed a filled folder with several dozens of emails, plenty of memos, and a USB containing 3 phone conversations and even video footage of him yelling at me. In both voice and video recordings you could easily hear him cuss me out. I gave the manager a big bright smile who was smirking victoriously and said to him, "I don't think you'll be smirking like that for long. Enjoy your little victory." His smirk disappeared into a confused scowl, but I slammed the door on him before he could respond and left the building feeling like a huge, and I mean humongous sized, planet-sized amount of stress fell off my shoulders. Within a month I was back to my old self. 2 months later I was working at my new job and out of curiosity I checked my ex-manager's LinkedIn page. Unemployed. I called one of my old colleagues to ask exactly what went down. My proof opened Pandora's box. He was being disrespectful to the female staff, insulted the older staff and on multiple occasions was less than cordial with our external hires. None of these complaints were acted upon because it was his word against theirs, and there was no proof. However, me providing overwhelming proof of his gross behavior towards me made all other complaints now to be taken as fact. He was promptly fired less than a month after I left and they refused to provide him with any form of reference. In a field like this, references mean a lot. So not getting one from your company you worked for nearly a year is a huge red flag. It's now 2020, 4 years passed and according to LinkedIn he's still not working in his field. I'll gladly admit I felt rather wickedly satisfied and still do whenever I happen to think about it. TLDR, manager began to bully me because I went to my family after the death of my grandpa instead of staying at work and basically forced me to quit for my own mental health. I delivered an overwhelming amount of proof of his misconduct that got him fired, which made it very difficult for him to find another job in his field. Well, I think this is a rather satisfying conclusion to this one. No one really got harmed over the long run. Except the manager, of course, who had it coming, really. So that's it, my first video. Well, if you enjoyed my commentary, please let me know by leaving a thumbs up. If you disliked something about the video, you can leave a thumbs down, tell me in the comments on what I should improve on. I'm still very new to this and this helps me out tremendously. If you liked my commentary, please mind subscribing. I will try to upload one of these videos at least once a day, as far as I can manage to pull them off. Until then, enjoy yourself, have a nice day, stay healthy and so long.